This lesson is proudly brought to you by Kagiso Trust in partnership with the Limpopo Department of Education and Capricorn FM. Kagiso Trust, overcoming poverty.
Righty, it's 6 minutes after 5. Class is in session. But it's fine.
Kana, that was my responsibility. I said, yes. I will do it.
No, I'm so indirectly. So class is in session. Of course, we are on catch-up lessons. Hashtag Kagiso Radio Teacher. And for today, we're going to be taking a look at mathematical literacy. Mem Mpia is here with us today for the second time. Tobela, Mem.
Good day.
How are you?
How are you, ma'am?
Okay, and yourself?
We are good.
Thank you so much for coming through for our learners. Also, Kibelele, our learners, right now, please do get your material ready, your pen, paper, your calculator, and also do alert your friends to tune into Capricorn FM right now for today's class.
So today we're focusing on income, expenditures, profit, loss, cost, price, and selling price. I just want to tell you guys, did I not shine through this?
Really?
Back in my matric year, I know, I shined through this.
I need a lesson. Because I can't manage my finances.
Really?
I can't.
Shame. So maybe you should sit down, grab a pen as well. Ma'am,
I am.
The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. Good day, Maths Lit learners. Today our focus is on calculation of income, expenditure, profit, and loss. We are also going to analyze and prepare statements of income and expenditure. But before we start with the preparation of statements, we need to understand the terminology of these finances. Definition of income. Income is the money one receives for work or from investments. An employee receives his or her income from his or her employer as a salary or wage. In terms of business, income refers to the amount of money one receives from sales of commodities or services rendered. In short, I can say income is the money one earns after working. Expenditure. Expenditure is the amount of money used to pay for something. Money you spend to buy something, that is your expenditure. For example, a trader spends some money in order to buy commodities, which he then sells to get more money. Profit. Profit is the difference between the income and the expenditure. When your income is more than expenses, we refer to that as profit. When you buy and sell a commodity, you sell it at a higher price than the amount you spend in order to earn a profit. Loss. When you say you're running a business and you're running at a loss, it is when the selling price is lower than the amount you spend on it. Therefore, we refer to your business as making a loss. And this may eventually lead to the collapse of your business. Let's get to calculation involving income and expenditure. I've got a little scenario here whereby we'll go through it and make sure that when you go through the scenario, you are going to underline the numbers because questions will be based on those very same numbers. Sarah is a secretary working for a municipality. She earns a basic salary of 6,300 per month and receives a housing allowance of 500 rands. Her monthly transport refund is 230 rands. Sarah rents her house for 3,000 rands per month, buys monthly groceries for 1,000 rands, spends 320 on monthly transport expenses, and her pay as you earn is 1,320 per month. I can repeat the scenario quickly. Sarah is a secretary working for the municipality. She earns a basic salary of 6,300 rands per month and receives a housing allowance of 500 per month. Her monthly transport refund is 230 rands. Sarah rents her house for 3,000 per month, buys monthly grocery for 1,000 rand, spends 320 rands on monthly transport expenses, and her pay as you earn tax is 1,320 per month. Now the first question is, calculate Sarah's gross and net income. Gross and net income. For us to determine the gross, we need to check on the money coming in. Hence, we are calculating income and expenditure. The money coming in is 6,300, which is her basic salary, 500 rands, which is the housing allowance, and 230, which is transport refund. Meaning, Sarah's gross income is 6,300 plus 500 plus 230, which amounts to 7,030 rands. That is the gross income. But remember, Sarah should also pay tax. So for us to determine the net income, you take the gross income, you subtract the pay as you earn, which is 7,030 minus tax of 1,320 equals to 5,710. So it means Sarah's net income is equals to 5,710. Why? Because we have deducted the tax from the gross income. The second question, we are to determine Sarah's expenditure. Sarah's expenditure are as follows. Is 300 for the house rental, plus 1,000 for grocery, plus 320 for transport expense, which amounts to 4,320. The third question, is this a viable income for Sarah? Let us substantiate our answers using relevant calculations. We just want to check as to whether Sarah's salary is okay, is viable. Now, before we can say this is viable, let us do the calculation. We've got the net income of 5,710. Then we're going to subtract the 4,320 of the expenditure And we are left with how much? 1,390. Therefore, it means Sarah's money is viable because after the expenses has been deducted, Sarah has some money left that she could save. Saving money is left there, and it proves that Sarah's salary is viable. The last question on income and expenses is, if Sarah has a balance to save after all the deductions, all expenses, what percentage of income does she have to save? If Sarah has a balance to save after she deducts all her expenses, what percentage of income does she save per month? We are requested to calculate the percentage. When you calculate the percentage saving, you are given this formula, not always. The amount saved over net income multiplied by 100. Amount saved over net income times 100. So in this case of Sarah, the amount saved is 1,390 over net income substituted by 5,710. We multiply by 100, and the answer is 24.34%. 24.34%. That is how one can calculate the income and expenditure. It has been said earlier on that we're also going to check on the cost and the selling price. Cost and selling price. Now, this is a business language. Remember, when you run a business, you make sure that each time you've got profit. You cannot run at a loss. I've indicated what profit is, what loss is. Now let us check on the concept. Cost price. The definition of cost price. That is the original price of an item. Original price of an item, or money spent when purchasing products or goods for resale. Money spent when purchasing products or goods for resale. That is their cost price. A practical example I can give, if say you are selling lollipops at school. Lollipops, your selling price is 2 rands. It's obvious that when you buy the lollipops, the cost price is lower. The money that you use to buy the lollipop at another store, say Mama's Sweets, is your cost price. And now here you are coming back to school to sell sweets. When you sell sweets, we refer to the money that you get after selling as selling price. Selling price, the money you get after selling. Cost price, the money you spend when you buy your products. Selling price, money you get after selling. I've got a scenario here. Here is Lerato, who has just started her business of making Milo at school. It cost her R9.50 to make 1 cup of Milo. The most important is the amount. Lerato has just started her business of making and selling Milo at school. The cost price for 1 cup of Milo is R9.50. She calculated that the daily fixed cost was 90 rands. The fixed cost, 90 rands. The making of Milo, R9.50. And Lerato said she would be able to sell 100 cups of Milo per day. She will sell the Milo at R12.50 per cup. She will sell the Milo at R12.50 per cup. The making of Milo, 1 cup, R9.50, and the daily fixed cost, 90 rands. The daily fixed cost, like buying of foam cups, sugar, milk, and maybe the tin of Milo. The cost is 90 rands. And this is the daily fixed cost. Now I've got the table of information. The table is as follows. It's for the income. Let's consider the income first. I've got the income from sale of Milo. The table is as follows. I've got number of cups of Milo. Number of cups of Milo, which is represented by N. Number of cups, I've got 0. It's a table. 20, 30, 40, 80, and 100. I'm going to repeat. Number of cups of Milo, 0, 20, 30, 40, 80, 100. Hence, we are calculating income here. Below the number of cups, we've got the income in rands. Below the 0, it's 0. Below 20 is 250. Below 30, 375. Below 40, letter A. Letter A. Below 80, 1,000. Below 100, 1,250. Now, my question is, before we can determine the value of A, we need to write down an equation that can be used to calculate the income. How do we calculate the income? When we say we're looking for the equation, we're looking for the formula to calculate the income. The formula to calculate the income, remember, we need to consider the selling price. Selling price for Lerato is R12.50 per cup. So in this case, because we want to generate income for Lerato and we want to know the equation, so it means the equation for income is R12.50 times N. N representing number of cups of Milo. That is the equation. So meaning, for whatever number of cups that you do have on your income, you can substitute on the N. If I say the price, the selling price is 12.50, it is 12.50 multiplied by N. And substituting the number of cups depending on the number of cups given. The second question. Let us determine the value of A given on the table. The value of A is, we check on the number of cups given up there. The number of cups of Milo given is 40. And because we've got the equation of 12.50 times N, we are going to substitute the 40 on N, meaning we write 12.50 multiplied by 40. 12.50 multiplied by 40, it gives us 500. If it's 500, it means the value of A is 500. The other question, we are requested to identify the independent variable between number of cups and the income. According to this table, the number of cups represent an independent variable. The income is dependent. Income in rands is dependent variable, and number of cups of Milo represent the independent variable. Now, Lerato would like to know the equation again, the equation of calculating the cost price of number of Milos. Remember, earlier on, we were looking for the income. We're looking for the equation of calculating income. We will look into the equation of calculating the cost after this. Thank you.
It's 29 minutes after 5, so we're quickly going to be getting into news headlines and sports, and then ma'am will continue again with mathematical literacy term 1, income, expenditures, profit, loss, cost price and selling price. Do remember that if you have questions, the number is 082-654-2446.
The Tailored Experience.
The name of a country and the title of a song starting with an E.
Country.
Yes, country.
Does it exist?
We'll never ask you for the impossible, my darling. It exists, and we have a couple in Africa as well.
Okay, I know Ethiopia, a country.
Yes, girl, yes. Name of a song.
I don't know any song that starts with an E.
I would have gone for Emotions by Destiny's Child. Just emotions taking me over. Caught up in
I'm a 2000 baby, so...
The Tailored Experience.
Give it up for the incredible.
With Shakani Shukwambana, 9 to midday on Capricorn FM. News headlines on Capricorn FM.
Let's look at news-making headlines now. MEC for Social Development in Limpopo, Nkakareng Rachwale, has welcomed the life imprisonment of 31-year-old Dudley Mhlongo, who was found guilty of raping a 78-year-old woman. Reserve Bank Governor Lesetja Kganyago says overall risks to the inflation outlook at this time appear to be the downside, and inflation is expected to be well contained over the medium term. And Gauteng MEC for Education, Panyaza Lisufi, says they have prioritized ensuring that all schools have protective equipment. Your final bulletin at 6 p.m.
Capricorn FM Sports. On and off the field, we've got you covered.
Now for your final look at your sports for today, Mamelodi Sundowns President Patrice Motsepe at a media conference this afternoon confirmed a 4-year contract renewal for coach Pitso Mosimane, with this current deal set to end in June. The saga over the coach's contract has been a long one, though Mosimane said in recent months that a deal was close. Mosimane was overseeing Sundowns since 2012, winning 4 league titles and the 2016 CAF Champions League. The side are 4 points behind Absa Premiership leaders Kaizer Chiefs this season, and was of course with a game in hand. Motsepe says he has always wanted to keep Mosimane at the club for so long.
Mamelodi Sundowns is also pleased to announce that it has renewed the contract of its head coach for a further 4 years. I am very happy that the board of Mamelodi Sundowns has decided to renew the employment contract of our very own Sir Alex Ferguson. He is my Sir Alex Ferguson. Of course, we are going for 4 years, but if I had it up to me, if it was up to me, I'd like to have him at least, what did I say? I said 8 years or something. So we'll see.
Mosimane was present at the media conference and he thanked the club president, his technical team, as well as players.
I'm pleased to confirm that I've signed a 4-year contract with a club that I dearly love. Firstly, I want to thank the president of the club, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, and the board for the confidence that they've shown in me and in trusting me with the team for the additional 4 years after being with the club for the past 7.5 years. I also want to thank my technical team and the players, to thank them for the hard work, support and the commitment that they've put in their last 7.5 years. All of the successes we have had would never be there or could never be achieved without them.
And meanwhile, still in the PSL, SuperSport United and Bafana goalkeeper Ronwen Williams attributes his longevity with Matsatsansa to loyalty and consistency. Williams has been with SuperSport United for the past 19 years of starting as an academy player and has clocked over 300 professional caps. The goalkeeper is the new SuperSport United captain, replacing Dean Furman, who has left the club to join his family in the United Kingdom. In the PSL season resumes, Williams' biggest task, of course, would be leading the team to a third-place finish, which is the most realistic target they could ever achieve. The goalkeeper, who is currently South Africa's #1, shared some of the reasons he's been with the club ever since.
Loyalty and consistency. Since I've turned pro, I think I've been very consistent. Throughout my career, I think I've been very consistent, and it's not easy, playing at the highest level for such a long time. Obviously, you're going to make mistakes, and that's what made me what I am today, learning from those mistakes and picking myself up, not, letting it have a negative effect on my life and my performances. And I mean, the loyalty that the team's shown to me goes both ways. I mean, they've been loyal to me. They've always wanted me at the team, and I've always wanted to be part of this team. I feel loved here, so I'm just happy to be part of this wonderful team.
Ronwen has also spoken out about this discipline that is needed among players in order to make it as a professional football player.
If you don't have discipline, then, I've seen many players that I played with at the academy who are much more talented than me, but today they know it, just because of the lack of discipline, and that's what I try and instill in the youngsters, we've got Sipho Mbule, Tebogo Mokoena, young guys, coming through, doing very well, but the most important thing is to stay disciplined, and stay humble. Obviously now, once you do well, you're in the media, on social media, and I tell them, stay humble, continue doing this for the next 15 years, and then we'll call you a legend, then we'll say you were good or you were great.
And finally, Manchester United captain Harry Maguire says it felt safe returning to training this week following the Premier League's first round of coronavirus testing. Premier League clubs were given the green light to begin Phase 1 training in small groups on Tuesday after testing revealed only 6 positive cases of coronavirus from 748 tests carried out on players and non-playing staff as well. United returned to their Carrington training complex on Wednesday, 2 months since their last competitive match. And although it was a change from the norm, Maguire was pleased to be back.
There's a lot less people at the training ground when we go in. Today I was in a group of 4 working with 1 coach, so not many people, you've got a lot of space, big areas, not going really close to anyone, but the main thing is getting the work in. And it was a tough session, and now I'm relaxed and it's all in the bank, and looking forward to tomorrow.
And this is all your sports for today. I'll be back with more tomorrow morning on the Go Breakfast with Complexion in Mpomashita. For more updates, follow at Capricorn FM News on Twitter. And for Capricorn FM Sports, I am Kamarelo Namalani.
Keeping you up to date with the latest sports news. Capricorn FM Sports.
25 minutes heading to 6. Capricorn FM, Limpopo South's frequency, still hanging out with the A-team, Dean Komo and Itu Banda, Misimpia Bakamo, and of course, tackling mathematical literacy. I feel like after this lesson, Ngaba a qualified forex trainer.
Oh, wow.
The stock markets.
Do you remember that this lesson is proudly brought to you by Kagiso Trust in partnership with the Limpopo Department of Education and Capricorn FM. Kagiso Trust, overcoming poverty. You may continue, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Let us quickly do the recap of the previous one. We were busy with the equation of calculating the income. We said the equation for calculating income for Lerato is 12 Rand 50 times N. N representing the number of cups of Milo. Now let us check on the cost price. How to calculate the cost price of number of cups that Lerato will buy. The equation for calculating the cost is 90 rands plus 9 rand 50 times N, where N represents the number of cups of Milo. I'm going to repeat the equation. 90 rands plus 9 rand 50 times N. The 90 rands, remember, is the initial amount, the daily fixed cost. Daily fixed cost, 90 rands, and the making of 1 cup. Cost Lerato how much? 9 rand 50 times N. The table given here is number of cups of Milo. Number of cups of Milo represented by N. I've got the following values. 0. The next one, 20, 30, B, letter B, 80, and 100. I can repeat. 0, 20, 30, B, letter B, 80, the last one is 100. Below the number of cups, cost price in rands. It must be in a form of a table. Cost price in rand. Below 0, we've got 90. 280. 375, which is below 30. Letter B, below letter B, 612.50. Below 80, 850. Below 100 is 1040, 1040. I can repeat the values. It's 90, 280, 375, 612.50, 850, lastly 1040. I would like us to analyze this table a bit. Let us check the number of cups of Milo, 0, but the cost price is 90. You must bear in mind that as long as there is the value below the 0, so it means that is fixed. Whether you have started making Milo or not, the 90 rands should be paid. It is the initial amount to cover the fixed costs and other expenses. Other expenses such as buying stock. That is, in this case, it is 90 rands. 90 rands. And the making of 1 cup is 9 rand 50. Let us quickly check the next number, which is 20 cups. As long as you've got the equation, it means you are going to substitute the number of cups on N. In this case, for us to get that 280 given, you take the 90 plus 9 rand 50 multiply by 20. The N you substitute by 20. From there, your answer is 280. Let's check on the 30 cups. 30 cups, the amount in this case is 375. And please don't forget that the 90 rand fixed cost is automatically included in each and every block. Each and every amount that you see on the cost price block, the 90 rands is included. It includes the 90 rands. Why? Because the 90 rands is the daily fixed cost. Let's get to 30. Number of cups, 30, the cost price. The amount is 375. Let's go back a bit to the income table. On the income table, the number of cups, 30. The amount is 375. Are you aware that the amount of both the income and the cost are equal on 30 cups? So it means if Lerato can sell 30 cups every day, Lerato will be running at a loss. And this 30 and 375 for the income, 30, 375 for the cost. It is what we call the break-even point. That is the equilibrium. There is equality in both the cost price and the income. And therefore, the equilibrium is also referred to what we call the break-even point. Someone might say, what is the break-even point? When the income we get from the business is the same as the initial amount we spent, we say the business is breaking even. The break-even point is the point at which the income from a business is equals to the expenses. At the break-even point, the business does not make a profit, no loss. Why? Because that is equality, that is the equilibrium. You start making profit, more money, once you exceed the break-even point. Once you exceed the equilibrium. The question on my table is to find the value of B. Remember, below B, we've got 612.50. 612.50. In this very same 612.50, the 90 rands is automatically included. But now we are requested to find the value of B, which is the number of cups of Milo. And therefore, for you to determine the number, you must subtract the 90, 612.50 minus 90, which is equals to 522 rands, 50 cents. You take the amount, you divide by 1 cup of Milo. 1 cup of Milo is 9 rand 50 in this case. So the answer for B is 55. The answer for B is 55. 612.50 minus 90. 90, remember, is the daily fixed cost. which is equals to 522.50. You divide by 950. Your answer should be 55. So it means the making of 55 cups, you'll have to part with 612 rand.50. In this case, is Lerato's business. Lerato will have to part with 612.50. We need to give an explanation here. The question is, explain the meaning of the word break even in the context of the question. So it means you don't have to just give the definition of the break even point of the equilibrium in the context given here. So in this case, the answer is the cost price for the number of cups of Milo sold and the selling price of the Milo is equal. You are going to talk about the variables given. So the cost price and the selling price, in this case, they are both equal. They are equal. The other question, you are requested to determine the number of Milo, the number of cups of Milo at the break-even point. Number of cups. Number of cups. Number of cups. Before we can draw the graph. You can see that even on the table we are given number of cups being 30 and the amount being the same. So it means the number of cups at the break-even point is 30. The answer is 30. Now let us try to draw the graph. The graph showing the total income for making up to 100 cups of Milo. We're going to use the information on both tables to draw the graph representing only the cost from the selling of cups. According to the scenario, the graph given here, the income is given. So we are going to draw the cost. When you draw the cost for the cups of Milo, you are going to check on the following. Very, very important. The starting point of your graph is 0 cups, but below the 0 cup, you've got the value of 90. And therefore, it means your graph should definitely start on the 90. You go to the y-axis and start on the 90. How are the variables of the graph? The variables of the graph are as follows. The x-axis, which is an independent variable, we've got number of cups of Milo, and dependent variable, which is the y. We've got the amount in rands. Now, the 0, below the 0 is 90. Therefore, when you plot your graph, make sure that you plot on the 90. It's 0 and 90. Why? Because there is a value below the 0, and that value is 90. Make it a point that you make a dot. Y-axis, 0 and 90. The next value, 20 and 280. You go to number of cups, 20. You go to your graph. You plot the 280. Next is 30 cups. You go to your graph. You check your 30. And then below the 30 is 375. You put a dot as well, that is plotting. Next is 612.50. You check the number of cups, 55. You go to 55. You check as to whether it's corresponding with the amount on the left-hand side, which should be 612.50 cents. You make a plot as well, which is 55 cups. Next is 80 cups. You stand at 80. You check the amount on your left, which is 850. You plot 850 together with the 80. You make your dot there. 100 cups. 100. Then you check the cost price. The cost price for 100 is 1040, 1040. Then you make your dot. After that, because you were busy plotting your graph here, you must join your dots. Very important. We don't just leave the dots as they are. Make sure that you join your dots. You are going to start on the 90. It's 90. You join with 280, with 375, 612.50, 850, and 1040. This is whereby you will be able to see the break-even point. You will be able to see the break-even point. The other graph is drawn, but we can also do this together. The other graph is for the income. So, remember, your cost started on the 90. So, the income, zero, no cup of Milo, no money. So, you are going to put a dot on the 0. That is the graph for the income. 0 from the 20 cups, 250, 30 cups, 375, 40 cups, 500, 80 cups, 1,000, 100 cups, 1,250. I can still repeat, but this is from the table of values that we did earlier on. 0. We are busy with the income. Plotting of the graph or for income. 0. You make a dot on the 0. 0 is 0. 0 cup, 0 money. Next is 20 cups, 250. 30 cups, 375. 40 cups, 500. 80 cups, 1,000. 100 cups, 1,250. After plotting, make sure that you join the dots. When you join the dots, don't forget to label your graph at the end. The graph that we're doing right now, the one we are plotting, is for the income. Therefore, just indicate income at the end. The other one, the previous one, is the cost price. Now let us check the break-even. The break-even point is on 30 cups and 375. I said, when the income we get from my business is the same as the initial amount we spend, we say the business is breaking even. So the breaking even here is on 20 cups. I said earlier on, if Lerato has to sell 30 cups of Milo every day, Lerato will be breaking even. There will be no loss, no income, no profit. So it means for Lerato to get a profit, more money, Lerato should strive to sell more than 30 cups on daily basis. If she exceeds the 30, it means Lerato's income would be more than the cost price. Lerato should make it a point that she is not breaking even on the 30 cups. When you run a business, make it a point that every time the selling price is more than the cost price. Remember the cost price, the money that you spend when purchasing the products for resale, and the selling price, the money you get after selling. So in the case of Lerato, it was an example of making cups of coffee. The making of a cup of coffee is 9 rands 50, including the initial daily fixed amount of 90 rands. So it means in this case the cost price is Lerato's expenses. Lerato spent 90 plus 9 rand 50. My emphasis again is on the graph, whereby you should make it a point that when it comes to a graph, if there is a value below the zero, which is indicating the fixed cost, make it a point that your graph commences, it starts precisely on that number. And after plotting your graph, make sure that you join the dots.
All right. We are out of time, ma'am. I know you could go on and on and on. But thank you so much for today's lesson. If there are any questions, we will make sure that you get them so that the next time you come, you can touch on them, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is hashtag Kagiso Radio Teacher. And that's how we wrap it up today, Miss Impia. If you've got any questions, please feel free to send them through. We'll forward them to her and then ensure that on her next lesson, she starts with those questions before commencing with the lesson of that particular day. Myself and Ujubanda are saying goodbye. We're back again tomorrow. We're leaving you in the capable hands of Ungamala Chauke on Progressive Talk.
Goodbye.
Looking for a cleaning